Good afternoon. This is Wednesday, May 5th. SuperGrowth MultiBaggers midday report, and we'll take a look at the market and at a company of particular interest, QDEL, which we discussed yesterday and took a small position yesterday. So first, very briefly, our investment approach is to focus on what we call high momentum growth stocks. These are companies with high levels of revenue and gross profit growth, generally about 4 times the rate of growth in those by those two criteria of the overall market, and also improving rates of financial strength. So the word momentum is of particular importance. It's not just growth, but increasing rates of growth in these categories that we focus on. And then, like all stocks, these stocks go through short-term declines against the trend. We have on our website, for instance, a look at Netflix over the 10 years 2010 to 2020, where it was the top performing stock of the S&P 500, and in that time it underwent 5 declines of more than 30% and one of more than 80%. So declines even in these exceptional companies and stocks are normal, and we have developed pattern recognition software to take advantage of them. So we're looking for strength after a period of short-term decline in high quality growth stocks with strong financial statement trends and momentum. That's a quick overview. Anyway, let's get to the market, take a look at what the market's doing today and our assessment of the market's risk. We'll start with a quick look at the overall market. This is the S&P 500 daily chart over the last year. As you can see, very strong upward trend, and weakness in the last couple of days, but not significant weakness. Last 10 days hourly chart, you see a generally weak trend with strength last night, overnight, and basically meandering along here for the last week or so, without a clear direction, and interest rate fears may be creeping into the market. We're certainly feeling a little cautious. We're about 80% in cash right now, new positions 6% of cash position. So we took one of those 6 positions yesterday in QDEL. QDEL is actually, as mentioned yesterday, the strongest in terms of financial statement trends of all SuperGrowth MultiBaggers. Stock has been very weak and erratic over the last year as the market has attempted to understand the company's prospects in terms of COVID diagnostic tests and other tests that the company produces, for instance, influenza tests, which COVID, of course, way up, influenza way down, market nervous. And this is an exceptional company. Growth in the latest quarter up over 100% versus the same quarter a year earlier. Somehow the market interprets that as a negative, and this combination of weak stock price and strong financials and strong fundamentals we find very interesting. So there's the daily chart showing the weakness, and now the hourly chart showing strength over the last couple of days, and us taking a position midday yesterday down here on the stock, continuing on a more or less upward path since then. So taking a look here at the company's fundamentals, this is our summary report. QDEL, the #1 company in that report in terms of overall financial statement trends. You see how strong its free cash flow has been. I mean, that's just extraordinary. This is the company's overall financial strength, also very strong. Here we look at our estimate of intrinsic value and the company's current stock price. You can see the last time that it traded at less than our estimate of intrinsic value was several years ago. We're looking at it roughly 4 years ago, and now sharply lower and we think somewhat undervalued. So now, in order to access the detailed report on this company, you just click on the company name for subscribers and brief summary, exceptional business quality, minimal risk, and we look at free cash flow trend here. Here we look at revenue and gross profit rate of change. So you see an acceleration in revenue and gross profit, and you see a very strong total financial statement momentum, which is basically financial statement strength, although it does include elements like return on assets, which does have an important impact on financial strength, but is commonly thought of as a profitability measure. Anyway, growth trends, revenue, gross profit, exceptional. We look at both revenue and gross profit so that we can assure ourselves that a company's not growing revenues by cutting prices to unsustainable levels, capturing market share through prices that are unprofitable. 5-year operating free cash flow, 5-year pre-tax flow, cash flow, pre-tax free cash flow growth. Again, both exceptional. Long-term trend, you see how in the last couple of years it's really broken out of this pattern of mediocrity and stumbling along with no real profitability trend. The company broke out of that in early 2019. Intrinsic value versus stock price, now sharply below our estimate of intrinsic value. Return on assets trend, you can see the acceleration. Asset turnover, exceptional. Margins, very strong. You rarely see this in combination. Typically, you see stronger margins in these companies and weaker asset turnover. Return on assets is, of course, a function of the combination of those two, margins and asset turnover. Quality of earnings, excellent. Profitability trends, excellent. Financial strength, excellent. Net asset value estimate, we think it's trading at about 30% below intrinsic value. We don't put a lot of weight on that. Most of the companies in our portfolio that do exceptionally well trade at significant premiums to intrinsic value, but the trend is interesting. Of course, we see somewhat of a decline, but not nearly as fast as the stock price in recent months. All right, so that's it for QDEL. And we'll close with a list of companies we've just removed from the SuperGrowth MultiBaggers due to weaker financial statement trends. Fortinet, Kraft Heinz, Shenandoah Communications, Emergent Biosolutions, and the St. Joe Company. These are all companies we're interested in. We'll continue to follow, and we will update our conclusion each quarter as trends emerge. But these are great companies or companies with exciting prospects. Their rate of improvement has declined, and we want to focus on companies with improving rates of financial statement strength, revenues, and gross profits. Thanks for your interest in the research. Our website, where you can subscribe to SuperGrowth MultiBaggers, which gives you continuous updates through the market day on companies trading at attractive pricing, companies with particularly strong financial statement momentum, and access to reports on every SuperGrowth MultiBagger. Okay, until tomorrow, bye for now.